TFSA versus RRSP. What's the difference? Today, we're going to deep dive into each account and go over the characteristics of each one. It's very important that you understand the difference between these accounts so that way you can plan out your taxes efficiently and save as much money as possible. So, the first major difference between these accounts is how they are taxed. So, a TFSA is funded using after tax dollars. So, that means the money that you put into the account has already been taxed. So, what makes this account special is that when you pull money out of this account, it is not going to be taxed again. So, that means if you make any money while the money is in the TFSA account, that gain will not be taxed. Now, this is a huge advantage that you should definitely utilize. Now, let's go over what this looks like for an RRSP. So, for an RRSP, this account is funded using pre tax dollars. So, that means that the money going into this account for that year will not be taxed. But then, when you take the money out of the account, that is when the money will be taxed. And that includes any growth within the account. When you pull the money out, you're going to be taxed on it. Now, understanding the benefits of this account is a bit more confusing, so I'm going to try to deep dive a bit more into this one. Now, the whole idea of this account is that you'll put money in it when you make more, and then you'll take money out when you make less. And theoretically, you're going to make less in retirement as you will not have a full time job normally to help fund your lifestyle. But that is a general assumption. Now, you'll have to think about that before contributing to this account. But if you plan to make less in retirement, this is a good account for that. Or at any time in your life, if you plan on making less, this could be a good account for you. And this strategy is beneficial because if you are making more, you're going to be in a higher tax bracket. So your tax percentage will be a lot higher compared to if you're making a lot less throughout the year, then you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. So if you take money out of the account during a year you make less, then you're already at a lower tax bracket. So that difference there is kind of a huge advantage of the account and what it's kind of aimed to do. Next, I want to talk about when you can take money out of a TFSA versus when you can take money out of an RRSP. So for a TFSA, you can take the money out whenever you would like, and it will be tax free. Another advantage with this account, if you do decide to take money out, you will get the room back the following year of the money that you took out. So that is a really nice feature of that account. And then for an RRSP, you can also take the money out of the account whenever you would like. However, you will have to pay taxes on that amount when you take it out. And the amount of taxes that you pay on that money will depend on your tax bracket for that year that you take it out. And then since you will have to pay taxes on the amount that you take out, the banking government know this, so they will withhold a certain percentage depending on the amount that you take out to account for the taxes that you pay on it. And if the taxes that they withhold on it end up being too high or too little, you'll end up evening everything out when you do your tax return for that year. So there are no additional penalties or fees that you pay to take money out of an RRSP, just the tax that you need to pay on that money as you did not pay taxes on it when you put it in the account. Now, being able to take the money out of your RRSP whenever you want it is pretty unique to Canada. A lot of countries don't offer that. This allows you a lot of freedom. Say if you had a year that you knew was going to be a light year, like you're not going to make that much that year, maybe you took a gap year, that could be an opportune time to take money out of your RRSP at a lower tax rate. So it does give you that flexibility to kind of play around with this account and when you take your money out. So I think that's a pretty cool, huge advantage, especially if you are expecting a year of lower salary. However, unlike the TFSA, when you take money out of the RRSP, you will lose that contribution space and you won't get it back the following year. So, also a good thing to keep in mind with this account. The last thing I wanted to go over today was the contribution limits. Now, both of these accounts obviously have huge advantages. So, the government does put a contribution limit on both of the accounts. So for the TFSA, the contribution limit is set every single year. So every year it will be different. So this year it is $7,000. So you can contribute $7,000 more this year. Now, say you haven't contributed to the TFSA before, the amount of contribution room does accumulate so you don't lose that room, which is a really nice feature. And then for your RRSP, it is based on your previous year's income. It is 18% of what you made last year. That amount is then added to your contribution room for this year. And like the TFSA, the room adds up onto each other. So it's not a use it or lose it situation. It is built up on year after year if you don't use the space that you have. So again, a very nice characteristic for that account as well. And then I do want to make a note here for the RRSP room. A couple different things can affect your room. So just so you're aware of them, if you do have a pension, this could affect your room that you have to contribute to this account. So for both of these, I would just recommend logging onto the CRA website and checking your contribution amounts for this year. That way you have a good understanding of both and will not be surprised by anything. Again, both of these accounts have their advantages and disadvantages, so just knowing when to use each one and the benefits of both of them. So thank you for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye.